You know, we've had this Rivian R1T for 19 months now, 40,000 miles. We just hit it. That's the wrap. That's as long as we do the long-term tests. And I still remember the first time I drove this thing. It was shortly after it arrived at the office. I took it out for lunch. There's this nice, quiet, safe road. It's a private road near the office. And I put it into sport mode here on the cluster. Turned stability off, as you do. Put it into its soft suspension setting, and then I did a launch. Holy cow. 835 horsepower. This is the quad motor, large pack, 128.9 net capacity battery pack. So it has 908 pound-feet of torque. And it is a rocket ship. 3.1 seconds to 60 miles per hour. Just an absolute bullet. Now, when I say we've lived with this 835 horsepower electric pickup, I mean we've towed with it, we've slept in it, we've slept on it, we've taken it on a really long 24-hour road trip, and we've gotten it good and muddy on some pretty awesome ORV trails up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Well, we've had the truck for nearly 2 years. It's evolved quite handsomely. Like, there's been about 20-ish over-the-air updates to the truck. They've all been free. They've changed things from as dramatically as like how the air suspension takes certain curbs and reacts to bumps in the road, to the Tesla supercharger update. There's also been like the UI and the nav has damn near completely changed. And they've even changed things just like as minuscule as when you approach the truck. When we first got it, it was a little squeaky, and that was those little air doors in the lower front valence of the truck. They would open up and they were pretty squeaky. You could hear them. And they actually changed that because owners complained. And it was a free update. And now they close after you get in the truck. You don't even hear them. You don't even know they're there. So it's all those little tiny quality of life things that have really made the truck, as we've had it, as you drive it, it really feels like it's changing in a good way, big and small. Another thing we've loved about road tripping with the Rivian is that they were one of the first automakers to join the NACS Alliance. So basically that's given us another 15,000 or more places to plug in at these Tesla superchargers, which are, have been super reliable, super quick for us. Rivian sent out their customers one of those little NACS to CCS adapters. So we just kept it in the truck, and it's been great for places, when we're on a road trip. We've gone as far north as Copper Harbor, Michigan with the truck. We've driven as far south as Daytona Beach, Florida with it. It's been great for filling in those little pockets in the country where there's maybe only one charger available. In this parking lot alone, there's 10 to 15 plugs here for us to get into. So it's been a great plus, especially in areas, even in the UP, there's a Tesla supercharger in Marquette that is fabulous. And we've gone through there with cars that are not on the Alliance, and it's been a complete nightmare. So it does make a huge difference. So we're at this wonderful DC fast charger, an absolute must on big road trips. We do a DC fast charge test on all our EVs, and we charge the vehicle from 10 to 90%. So the Rivian did this in 59 minutes at an average of about 115 kilowatts. However, peak charging rate on this bad boy is 220. It's really tricky to follow exactly how much charging we did on one of these DC fast chargers versus at the office on an AC slower charger or at home with the Rivian can AC charge at a max of 11.5 kilowatts. But we work it out to probably 80% DC fast charge, 20% at home, which works out to, if you do the math, there's some averaging going on with the different DC fast charge pricing. But we figure it's probably about $6,000 to re-energize this truck for 40,000 miles. A really big thing to point out is that Ram 1500 TRX from many years ago that we also put through our 40,000 mile gauntlet, that thing costs $16,000 to refuel for the same amount of time. One of my favorite parts about this truck is right back here, the gear tunnel. So what we've done is the Thunderbolt Adventure Supply folks have sent us this incredible gear tunnel kitchen. 4 bolts hold this thing in here, and it's really sweet. I gotta show you guys this. We used this faithfully when we camped all throughout the UP for about a week, and we cooked every breakfast, lunch, and dinner we could on it. It's bamboo hardtop. It has this 1800 watt induction stovetop. Works great with cast iron skillets, water boils like now. It's awesome. It's way better than using gas. We never had to use a generator. It just runs off the truck's electricity. You also have a little cutting board here, and then underneath here, silicone sink, which is great for cleaning your forks and your dishes and things like that. It also comes with these wax canvas bags. So we'd throw all our cutlery in here, our big ladles, our granola bars, everything would fit in there. You get a few of those. Yeah, it's incredible. Just to be able to pull this out, you cook with it, easy to clean. You got a sink here to wipe up everything else with. It folds. One of my little attention to detail here is you can open and close it while the door handles are extended, which is a nice touch. You have sort of like a dry storage in the back of this here. And then when you're done with it, she just goes right back in there. You still have all of your space in the truck bed. And then there's even, if you look right here, there's even a little spot to use for a bottle opener. It's super handy. So this is a rooftop tent from Roof Nest. It's the Condor 2 Overland. Worked out great for us the whole week. We got into some wind, we got into some rain. We blanketed up, stayed warm. Beautiful rain canopy here, stayed dry the whole time. Actually, one of the key things about this tent that a lot of people don't mention is the rubber seal once it's closed. So we got the truck really muddy that week, and we ran it through the car wash like 6 times. Tent stayed totally dry in there. It was totally fine through the automatic car wash, which is a big key because a damp tent is a stinky tent. We slept 2 people and a dog. You can also plumb in HVAC from the cabin of the truck. There's little portholes. It's a separate accessory, but you could basically run a heated unit off the cabin using the HVAC of the truck. It has exterior and interior LED lighting. You can hook it up to the truck if you wanted to. We just use one of those little power banks like you would recharge your cell phone with. You just plug it in, it's a USB cord. The brightness, you can adjust all that stuff. Makes seeing the ladder a lot easier. You also have these little trash baggies, great for throwing your shoes in here once you get in the tent. Kind of a thin mattress up here. Put enough blankets on, it's comfortable for more than 2 nights, but I will say that it can get a little bit stiff. So you want to add a little bit of thickness if you're maybe 220 pounds or up. So we have to talk maintenance because not only is Rivian a newer company, the Rivian R1T was the very first product they released. Electric, big horsepower pickup truck. No pressure, right? Surprisingly, on these 40,000 mile long-term tests, we never really know what to expect because some vehicles go through it without a hiccup. Other cars in recent memory, like the Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing, that thing, we had a piston failure during testing within the first few thousand miles. Our Kia Sorento, we had to replace the entire transmission in. But in the Rivian's case, it's actually been very mellow. We did have to make one unscheduled pit stop for maintenance, and that was for a phantom gear tunnel alert on the gauge cluster. as well as the Bluetooth camper speaker was locked in place. We couldn't grab it out of there. We had to wait 3 months to get in just for those small issues. Thankfully though, the visit was free. Now outside of that, maintenance costs, you're looking at tire rotation and then cabin air filter replacement as a part of that. 40,000 miles in, we try to do it in a year. Our driving behavior is maybe a little more aggressive than most, certainly, but despite that, the truck still ate through a set of these Pirelli Scorpion AT tires. So that cost $2,000 to replace, and we had to do it 20,000 miles halfway into the test, and we're at 40,000 right now, and you can tell just by looking at the treads, it's time to call our friends at Tire Rack again for another set of these bad boys. One of the big reasons this thing won a 10 Best award a few years back was because of how well of a ride it has. I mean, for a pickup truck, usually they're pretty bouncy over expansion joints and you get a lot of hop, especially, when you're hitting little bumps in that. The Rivian really has none of that. The air suspension really helps it. The hydraulic anti-roll bars are just wonderful on cornering and stuff, especially a vehicle of this size. And throughout the test, some editors did complain about a little bit of a shaking steering wheel at highway speeds at about 80. And the tires are definitely loud. They're ATs. You don't have any exhaust or powertrain noise to cut some of that down. But other than that, it's been a super well-riding vehicle. I'll show you guys my second favorite thing about the truck. It's in the nav screen here. It's a camping mode. There's a lot of great features in here. Really pretty animation. We'll automatically level the truck, which I know we keep talking about camping, but this is all really useful stuff and what the truck's kind of designed to do. So the truck will automatically use its airbag system to level the truck. Usually you gotta find some rocks and park it certain ways to get the tent and stuff to level out so you're sleeping on a level surface. This truck knocks all that work out of the park and you just have it doing it automatically. The only issue with this is that you have to keep the doors closed, but you can easily get around that. Roll down the window, hang off the side, and it'll still do it. Another great thing that's super helpful when you're in a campground is this camp courtesy mode. What it does is it prevents the exterior lights from turning on every time you enter the truck. It also keeps it from beeping on lock. And just all those little annoying things that, you hear like the triple beep in GM vehicles or like that really loud tailgate beep in some of the SUVs. This completely quiets those down so that way you can go in and out of the truck without, waking other people up or disturbing fellow campers. One thing that we also really liked was this outlet mode, which you can set on a timer so that way the outlets for like that kitchen and stuff like that are limited by a certain amount of time. So that after, like this is set to 9:30 p.m. After about 9:30, when you're in the tent already asleep, you don't have to worry about burning extra energy or, oh man, did I leave the kitchen on? It automatically shuts off on its own, which is super handy. What is that saying? I hope you have a big frunk because I'm going to put my bike in it. Well, the Rivian here has a powered frunk. It's decent size. Perfect for camping when you have a lot of dirty laundry, stinky towels from drying your dogs off. For the most part, we've just stored, charging cables and some cargo stuff in here, but it's powered, so you can open it from inside the truck. You can do it from outside like I just did. You could also use the key fob to open and close it. When we talk about towing, we towed at least 2 project cars with it. I personally towed my 1986 Nissan 300ZX Turbo. It's a project car from high school, total pile of junk. Put that on a 20-foot long Featherlight all aluminum trailer, nice and lightweight. That's good for EVs who struggle with the towing range because you get a big decrease. Perfect example of this is on our highway range test, which we do at 75 miles per hour, this truck got 250 miles of range. When I towed my car with it, it dropped significantly to 130 miles. And that's with keeping the speed a little bit lower, between 60 and 70 miles per hour, depending on what highway I was on. I wasn't going that far. I only had to stop once to recharge. I stopped at a Rivian charger. It was 32 cents per kilowatt hour. It didn't cost a lot. It was quick. But man, if you're going really far, like a significant distance, even 500 miles, by the time you leave, travel that distance, and then get home, because you have to charge, you have to show up with some battery left, that could be a real pain in the butt. Throughout the test, we did start to hear and notice a few squeaks and creaks throughout the truck. One of them being right here, the gear tunnel. It's a little scratchy still, but better than it used to be. One of our staffers actually sprayed this hinge with lubricant just to shut the thing up. And other people have reported that they were unable to get the door open, at getting stuck in that closed spot. And as you can see, even when you hit the button, it only comes out so far. You got to pull it open. It eventually arrests. So there were some issues with the truck. Another thing we'll point out too is that this body gap here in the gear tunnel is far smaller than on the other side of the truck where it's massive. One common line item throughout all those free over-the-air updates was this little guy right here, this little stinker. This is the keyfob. This truck has keyless entry, so you shouldn't need to touch your pockets or do anything. When you approach the vehicle, the door handle should expand and you should be able to get into it. But time and time again, we'd approach the truck, we get a little closer, we'd get a little closer, we'd beat the thing with the key fob, and as you can see, it's still not opening. Still not opening. Here's the unlock button. Nothing. Finally. So sometimes it would eventually open. Other times you just kind of have to stand there like an idiot and wait for it to listen to you. Now, funny enough, you can also download the Rivian app, so that way you don't need the fob at all. And some of our staff, that's how they had the truck set up. So wouldn't need the key fob. You could just approach the truck like you would with your cell phone. The thing about the cell phone app is though, yeah, and I'm standing here still and now it's locking. The thing about the cell phone app is you could be in your house, in the kitchen, truck would stay locked, walk upstairs to your bedroom, getting ready for bed, you'd hear the little chirp, little faint chirp out in the driveway. This thing would lock and unlock like crazy just because you're walking around your house. So the cell phone is actually way more sensitive proximity-wise than the key fob has ever been, despite every one of those updates. We never saw a damn difference. And as you can see, at 40,000 miles, it's still doing it. Another thing that we really lament here with this gorgeous display is that Rivian doesn't use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So you're based solely off this nav system, which is powered by Google. But we found that a lot of times we were still having to double check its work with our cell phones. We were still using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay just on our phones. And like this thing just did some silly stuff sometimes. So, you know, sometimes it would have us just take an exit that we just didn't need to take on the highway. A lot of times when we were looking for campsites, it would send us down roads that didn't exist anymore. And a few times it actually sent us into people's private property. So not the best system. And also on top of that, like this stuff is all really quick to react. And it's really gorgeous. I mean, look at that illustration. It's super pretty, except it still doesn't beat physical buttons. You know, like you just can't get around physical buttons. So if there were more physical buttons, you have some buttons over here for like the headlights and the windshield wipers, but man, buttons for like climate control, buttons on the door to adjust the mirrors, a toggle for even just a steering wheel, just to make fine little adjustments. Otherwise, you got to go into all these different menus and find these different settings. And, you know, it's just really annoying. It isn't any easier than a button. But that was one of our bigger gripes. A lot of people complained about it in the logbook. Now, despite those shortcomings, we still really enjoyed our time with the Rivian R1T. If you're just looking at the $94,000 price and the fact that when you are towing, you don't get as much driving range, the truck doesn't seem rational at all. However, there is great value in utility, which this truck does have a lot of. Our takeaway from 40,000 miles with the Rivian is that those quirks are kind of expected from a newer automaker, especially with their firstborn baby here. But this R1T honestly was as reliable as it was fun.